You can tell exactly what trade a man works in by looking at his truck in the parking lot.
Oh, would you look at that? Just look at that.
The electrician, brand new F-250. Toolbox organized like a museum exhibit. Lift kit, LED light bar he's never even used. And there's probably not a scratch on it. The roofer, however, a 2003 Chevy Express van with 6 guys crammed inside, a 6-foot stack of ladders on top, 1 brake light probably missing, and a rosary hanging from the rearview mirror.
I think something's wrong with her.
12 years as a union carpenter, 6 years as a project manager, and 12 years as a UAW inspector, over 30 years on job sites, and I've seen every single one of these trucks pull up. This is which trade drives which trucks. And if you don't see your trade in the first 2 minutes or so, wait for it, because I'm coming for everybody. Before I get into the mind-blowing truths about trucks, make sure and grab the free 2026 Blue Collar Resource Guide in the description. It's got links to all kinds of union jobs, free training, startup grants in all 50 states. It's completely free and it's my gift to you, so hit the link below. And if you're new here, hit subscribe to that notification bell. Now let's get into it. The electrician, king of job site parking lot. He's got a brand new F-250 or a Ram 3500. He's got a lift kit, 35-inch tires, LED light bar across the top that's never once been turned on. Matching toolboxes on both sides that look like they were installed in a spa or something. Spray-in bed liner that's never even been scratched. And it might just be taking up 2 spots intentionally to avoid any scratches or dings. His truck is the cleanest vehicle on the entire site. Because electricians, they don't carry anything heavy. His truck bed has a roll of Romex, a bag of wire nuts maybe, and a lunchbox. That's it. The biggest truck payment on the entire site. But don't worry, he can afford it. Number 2, the lineman, the electrician's bigger, scarier cousin. While the electrician babies his F-250, the lineman drives a jacked up diesel with out-of-state plates. Why out of state, you ask? Because he's 3 states from home. He's chasing storm work. Hurricane hits Florida, he's already on the road. Ice storm in Texas, he's halfway there. He doesn't drive to the job, he drives to the disaster. A cooler in the back seat worth more than his radio probably. Living out of a truck for 3 weeks at a time and making more in that storm season than most guys make all damn year. The truck is filthy, the truck is exhausted, and so is he. But that paycheck, that's why he does it. Number 3, the roofer. The roofer doesn't drive a truck. The roofer drives a van, and not a nice van, not a new van. A 2003 Chevy Express with 280,000 miles on it. There's no air conditioning, so don't even look. A check engine light that's been on since Obama's first term, and 6 to 8 guys packed inside like a clown car. And on top, you guessed it, a ladder rack, holding a stack of extension ladders so tall that the van leans to one side when it takes a turn. There's rosary on the rear view, air freshener that gave up 3 years ago, a sliding door, it only opens from the outside, and 8 guys pour out of it like it's a deployment vehicle. Nobody cares what the van looks like, they just need it to start one more time. Number 4, the plumber. White cargo van with more compartments than a Swiss Army knife. And by Friday, there's a PVC pipe sticking out of every single window like the van grew antlers or something. The drain snake in the back, it smells like, well, you know what it smells like. The toilet in the bed from a call 2 days ago, he hasn't even dropped it off yet. A magnetic sign on the side, of course, 24-hour emergency service. That phone rings at 3 a.m. and the plumber answers because that's how he affords this van. Number 5, the HVAC tech. The HVAC tech has the clean white service van, company logo, shelves organized inside, gauges, manifolds, everything in its place. From the outside, professional, respectable, but watch this man drive. The HVAC tech drives his service van like he's being timed. 3 calls before lunch, weaving through traffic, running yellow lights, pulling into driveways at 30 miles an hour. The van is clean, the driving is chaos, and if you haven't seen your trade yet here, guys, I promise you it's coming. Nobody's getting out of this video clean. Nobody. Number 6, the concrete guy. Whatever color this truck used to be, it's gray now. Entire vehicle coated in a permanent film of concrete dust. Windshield has a layer of splatter, the wipers just smear around. The floor mats are concrete, not covered in concrete. They are concrete. Tailgate, it's permanently down because it's been welded shut by dried mix. He doesn't wash his truck. He doesn't vacuum his truck. He doesn't even lock his truck because who's going to steal it? His neighbors hate him. He doesn't care. He's too tired to even care. Number 7, the mason. The mason, the bricklayer. His truck rides so low in the back, you'd think he's hauling bodies. He's not. It's worse. It's a half a pallet of brick he never unloaded from the last job. A mortar mixer permanently changed in the bed. Bags of mortar that got rained on once and turned to concrete right there in the truck. The wheel wells, fossilized. Mortar splatter turned to stone years ago. The suspension's been shot since the Bush administration, and every speed bump is a religious experience. He's not going to fix it because tomorrow he's just going to load it back up with another half ton of brick. Number 8, the welder. The welder's truck isn't a truck, it's a rolling workshop. Welding rig on back that weighs more than the truck itself. The rear end is sagging. Suspension gave up on him 2 years ago. Burn marks on the bed liner. Custom headache rack, he welded himself. The bumper, he welded it. Step bar, he welded it. The cup holder, he probably welded it. It's not a vehicle, it's a portfolio. And it smells like burnt metal and black coffee, always. Number 9, and now the mechanic. The man who fixes everybody else's vehicle drives the absolutely worst vehicle on the entire site usually. Think about that. The guy who can rebuild an engine blindfolded is rolling up in a 1998 something or other held together with zip ties, a bungee cord, and pure spite. The check engine light, he took the bulb out. Problem solved. Got 3 project cars sitting at home. None of them run. He's been almost done for 6 years. The driver's window doesn't roll down. He fixes $70,000 trucks all day long and drives home in a hoopty that backfires in the parking lot. It smells like brake cleaner and energy drinks because the mechanic's truck is like the cobbler's kids with no shoes. He's just too busy fixing everyone else's to fix his own. Hey guys, if you're thinking about getting into any of these trades and getting your own work truck to destroy, I partner with Course Careers. They have certificates in all types of skilled trades with free intro courses and thousands of real reviews. They have nearly a 5-star rating and help connect you with real employers upon completion. So if you're interested, the link's down in the description. Okay, the next 5 trades, I saved the best for last. And if you're a painter or landscaper, I'm sorry in advance. Number 10, the carpenter. And I can speak personally on this because I was a carpenter for 12 years. Mid-range pickup. F-150 or Silverado paid off or close to it. Lumber rack on top with 2x4s that have been up there so long, they're weathered gray. The inside, it's a time capsule. Coffee cups from 3 different days probably. Pencils everywhere. A tape measure in every compartment. Sawdust in places you didn't even know existed. Radio permanently set to classic rock or country. Smells like sawdust. Coffee and the faint memory of ambition. Number 11, the painter. He drives a white van. Of course it's white. Every painter's van starts white. Then it becomes a masterpiece of accidental art. There's kills on the bumper. Sherman-Williams agreeable gray on the door handle. Benjamin Moore cloud white on the steering wheel. More paint on his van than on most of his job sites. The seats are covered in a drop cloth, not because it's protected the seats, because the drop cloths are the seats now. 5-gallon buckets in the back rolling around on every single turn. The van, it matches the pants. The pants, they match the man. It's a whole vibe. Number 12, the landscaper. He doesn't just have a truck, he has a parade. Mid-2000s pickup pulling an open trailer that's worth more than the truck. A 0-turn mower, walk behind, 2 trimmers, a blower, edger, hedge trimmers, enough gas cans to fuel a small airport. The trailer weighs more than the truck. The truck knows it. The transmission knows it. You can hear a landscaper coming from 3 blocks away usually. There's metal clanking and mower shifting, gas cans sloshing. It's a one-man invasion force, strapped down with 3 bungee cords and a slight prayer. Number 13, the heavy equipment operator. This one breaks the pattern. He doesn't drive a truck on the job site at all. Somebody drives him because his vehicle is already there. It's a $350,000 excavator. He shows up in whatever his wife doesn't need that day. A Camry, a minivan, it doesn't matter. Sometimes even carpools with a laborer. He doesn't care because once he climbs into that cab, he's operating a machine worth more than every truck in the entire parking lot. AC is on, looking down at everybody else sweating. He doesn't need a nice truck. He is the truck. Now, if you're a GC or a superintendent, you already know what's coming. 14, the GC superintendent. And finally, the boss, the general contractor, the superintendent. He drives a Ford King Ranch or a GMC Denali. A Ram, maybe a Longhorn with leather seats, heated and cooled, backup camera, 360 camera, premium sound system playing talk radio, the center console big enough to hold a laptop, 2 phones, a set of plans, and a full lunch. This truck has never seen a tool, not once. Nothing in the back except a hard hat he keeps there for show, and maybe a safety vest he puts on when the client visits. The GC's truck is always backed in. Always. He backs into every spot like he's docking a yacht or something. Parks closest to the trailer, of course, not because he earned it, because he designated it. He might have put a cone there with his name on it even. He walks out of his $70,000 truck, puts on his clean hard hat, grabs his coffee, and walks into the trailer to tell everybody else what to do. He doesn't touch a single tool all day, and somehow he makes more money than everyone in the entire parking lot. And funny enough, every tradesman on this job looks at that King Ranch and thinks the same thing. One day, that's going to be my truck. And that right there, that's the real blue-collar career ladder. You start in the roofer's van, you end up in the GC's King Ranch if you bust your ass. The parking lot tells the whole story. 14 trades, 14 trucks, and if I missed your trade or got something wrong, tell me in the comments. I know you will. Because tradesmen are the most opinionated people on the planet when it comes to 2 things, their skills and their trucks. And I just went after both. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. Make sure and check out the 2 videos at the end. I'll see you in the comments. I'm JV Charles. We'll see you on the next one.